So you're on the web, you see a job, and you apply for it. You get the interview. By some miracle, they offer you the job. The big day comes round and you show up. Then they tell you you've got training to do. You think to yourself, okay, sure. Maybe a week or two passes and the training continues. You give a sigh of resignation. It is what it is. You need the money. Training follows training. Months follow months, and you grow weary. The training and the learning are never going to end. This is not to say that lifelong learning is a bad thing, only that without us even realising, it has become an accepted norm. But we're getting a bit ahead of ourselves. Lifelong learning didn't just appear overnight. As with anything, there's a story to be had. So, back in the 1960s, a bunch of bigwigs and leaders from Europe got together and championed the concept of lifelong education. I thought this video was about lifelong learning. Bear with me. So during the 1970s, there were many similar but different concepts, such as lifelong education, but also lifelong learning floating around. This tea is disgusting. Go and get some water. So then, during the 1990s, several international groups and quite a few national governments came to see lifelong learning as a useful concept. Okay, I'll bite. Why? What changed? Well, as the world became more connected with globalization, many Western countries lost their previous economic advantage. The solution was a new focus on learning, on the creation of knowledge and its application as a way of creating advantage. Like the Coca-Cola recipe? Well, that's actually a myth. But I suppose if it were true, then that would qualify, yeah. Something that gives you an advantage over the competition. Right. Since then, the concept has taken on a life of its own. Like the carpenter or painter who, as it turns out, is in fact a handyman, lifelong learning has been wheeled out and used by any number of different groups and individuals for a variety of purposes. And after that, I want you to fix the patio doors and paint the main room, and if you could give me a massage before you go as well, that would be great. Lifelong learning has also become a type of behaviour or a trait that employers cultivate and actively seek out. So tell me, why do you think you're the right person for this job? Well, I can cook, research, operate a camera, I'm pretty knowledgeable on the latest Netflix releases. Oh, and I can wiggle my nose like this. Elsewhere, the concept has been used as a way of combating social exclusion. If you want me to leave, to ease the re-entry of the unemployed into the workforce, job interview skills, writing a CV, even in some places as a form of social control. Would you sit up straight while I'm talking to you? Okay. Unfortunately, few, if any, of these purposes line up with lifelong learning's true potential as a utopian optimistic philosophy leading to a scientific humanist learning society. Don't ask me what all that means. Not yet, anyway. What I can say is that because lifelong learning is such a broad concept, many policymakers have had trouble defining it, even measuring it. Most of the time, they embrace the widest possible definition, i.e., lifelong learning is learning of all types and kinds. This is all very good and well in theory, but in practice, many countries subscribe to a much narrower definition. In the UK, for example, lifelong learning is a term for any education a child participates in after they leave school at the age of 16. In the US and other countries, universities have started offering lifelong learning modules. All of this is to say that they're treating lifelong learning like it's just another word for education, Problem is, this definition allows formal education systems to keep on deciding what learning is valued, how it is assessed, even how it is accredited. I don't care what you read elsewhere or who told you different. If it's not in the textbook, if it's not what I'm teaching you, then it doesn't count. On the flip side, informal learning is basically everything that you pick up outside of formal settings. From watching videos online, reading books in your own time, even from trying to cook a meal. So what you're telling me is that all of that informal learning remains unacknowledged, unappreciated? Pretty much. What's your next video about? What I think is a better and more correct definition of lifelong learning. Just a suggestion, but maybe you could get better tea next time, or Coke. Coke is good. Okay, sure thing. Whenever you get a haircut.